everyone. I'm Nishantin Ahali from Bitalad IA1B, and today I will be discussing one of the learner-centered psychological principle, the cognitive and metacognitive factors. Nature of learning process. Learning is not just about memorizing facts or listening to lessons. It is an active process where learners build new knowledge based on what they already know. When students explore, ask questions, and connect ideas, learning becomes more meaningful. In other words, learning happens best when the mind is engaged and thinking deeply. So next is goals of the learning process. So the goals of a learning is not simply to pass exam or finish tasks. It is to develop understanding, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills that can be applied in real life. Learning should inspire curiosity, independence, and desire to keep learning throughout life. A true learners aim not just to know but to understand and grow. And the third is construction of knowledge. Learners don't just receive information, they construct knowledge through experience, reflections, and interactions. Teachers play the role of guides or facilitators, helping learners discover meaning and make connection. Through metacognitions or thinking about thinking, students learn to monitor their understanding, identify mistakes, and improve how they learn. To summarize, the cognitive and metacognitive factor remind us that learning becomes more powerful when students are active, self-aware, and reflective. When when we understand how we learn, we can learn better, deeper, and with purpose. Thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Rishanti Napahali, and this is my report on cognitive and metacognitive factor under the Learner Center Psychological Principle. To
Hi everyone, I am Finalin A. Halik, and now I will be talking about three important principles that can help us become better learners. So these are strategic thinking, thinking about thinking, and the context of learning. So let's know what this mean and how we can use this. So the objectives of this topic is to understand the meaning and importance of strategic thinking, thinking about thinking, and the context of learning. And also, we will develop a better understanding of own learning processes and environment to study more effectively. So let's start to know first the strategic thinking. So strategic thinking, it involves using different ways of thinking and reasoning techniques to meet challenging learning objectives. It's about being intentional and resourceful in your approach to learning. Successful learners don't just passively absorb information, but they actively choose and apply different strategies to understand and remember what they're learning. So, this might involve breaking down complex tasks, identifying key concepts, using analogies, or creating mental models. Kumbaga, naghahanap sila ng paraan para mas madali nilang matutunan ang kanilang pinag-aaralan. So, for example, a student is struggling to understand a complex scientific concept. So, nahihirapan siyang intindihin yung scientific concept. So, the student decide to break down the concept into smaller, draw a diagram to visualize the relationship between different elements and to explain the concept to a classmate to solidify their own understanding. So that way, mas tumatak sa isip niya ang kaniyang natutunan and para mas madali niyang maintindihan at mas maging malinaw sa kanya ang kaniyang pinag-aaralan. So, in short, strategic thinking is Kumbaga, iniisip mo muna ang mga pwede mong gawin para mas mapadali ang iyong pag-aaral. Like, before mo gawin ang isang bagay, you need to plan well before making a decision to achieve your goals. So, that is strategic thinking. So, let's move on to thinking about thinking. Thinking about thinking is also known as metacognition. It involves reflecting on your own thinking and learning processes. Iniisip mo kung paano ka mag-iisip at matututo. It includes setting goals, choosing appropriate strategies, and monitoring your progress. So, metacognition is about being aware of your strengths and weaknesses as a learner. Alam mo kung saan ka magaling at kung saan ka nahihirapan. It involves planning your approach to learning, monitoring your understanding, and adjusting your strategies as needed. Kumbaga, nagpaplano ka, titignan mo kung naiintindihan mo at nag-a-adjust ka kung kinakailangan. So, for example, a student is preparing for an exam. So, the student assess their current knowledge of the material. Tinitignan niya kung ano ang alam niya. And also, the student identifies areas where they need to focus their studying. Inaalam niya kung saan siya dapat mag-focus sa pag-aaral. So, ganun naman sa thinking about thinking. Iniisip mo kung paano ka mag-iisip at matututo sa mga bagay na gagawin mo. So, the last one is context of learning. Context of learning is influenced by various environment factors, including culture, technology, and teaching methods. Yung environment natin is nakakaapekto sa pag-aaral natin. Environment in which learning takes place can have significant impact on how well someone learns. Malaki ang epekto ng environment natin nakakaapekto sa pag-aaral natin. So, this includes the physical environment, classroom, library, the social environment, peers, teachers, and the cultural environment, values, beliefs. Kasama dito yung lugar, ang mga kasama natin, at yung kultura natin. Example, cultural context. In some cultures, learning is highly individualistic, with students encouraged to compete with one another. So, in other cultures naman, learning is more collaborative, with students encouraged to support each other. So, another example, technological context. The availability of technology can greatly enhance learning opportunities. Malaking tulong ang technology sa pag-aaral. Students can access vast amounts of information online, collaborate with others remotely, and engage in interactive simulation. So, in instructional practices, effective teaching methods can create a more engaging and supportive learning environment. This might include using active learning strategies, providing timely feedback, and differentiating instruction to meet the needs of diverse learners. Kasama dito ang active learning strategies, timely feedback, at differentiate instruction. So, that's all what I have learned about strategic thinking, thinking about thinking, and context of learning. I hope you guys understand. Thank you for listening.
So, the objective was learners engage by making learning relevant, enjoyable, and challenging, boost motivation by setting achievable goals, providing feedback, and recognizing process, foster positive attitudes by creating a supportive learning environment, and promoting self-efficacy by considering these educators can create a more effective and engaging learning experience. So my topic is all about motivational and emotional influence on learning and intrinsic motivational to learn. So firstly, motivational influence in learning, it can be intrinsic or extrinsic. Motivation plays crucial role in learning by enhancing engagement and participation, by increasing effort and persistence, by fostering growth mindset, and lastly by promoting self-directed learning. So lastly, let's move out to intrinsic motivational learn. So it's desire to learn for its own sake rather than for external rewards or pressures. Its characteristics personal interest learning motivated by their genuine interest in the subject matter. Um, Lastly, curiosity learners and are driven by a desire to understand and explore its benefits. It can deeper learning, intrinsic motivation to leads to more meaningful and lasting learning. It increased engagement learning are more likely to be engaged and motivated. So its examples, reading book for pleasures, exploring a new hobby or interest, conducting experimental or research, and learning a new language for personal enrichment. So that's all.
So good day everyone, I am Alexandra Patian Concepcion from BTLED IA1B. So today, I will be discussing social influences on learning. So what is social influences on learning? So, social influences on learning involve how interactions with others and a broader social context shape an individual's learning process. So, these influences can be positive, such as through collaboration, peer support, and family engagement. And it can also be negative by manifesting as peer pressure, distractions, and a lack of belonging. So here are some key social factors that include social learning theory, which highlights learning through observation and modeling, and the impact of family, peers, and school culture on motivation, behavior, and academic outcomes. So here are some positive social influences. So first is collaboration and peer feedback. So collaboration and peer feedback, working with others on tasks, engaging in group discussions, and receiving feedback from peers can deepen understanding and improve the learning process. So next is peer support and belonging. So, peer support and belonging is a positive relationships within a peer group, and a sense of belonging at school can enhance motivation, engagement, and academic success. And next is family engagement. So, parental involvement and positive interactions with adults create an optimal learning environment. Then, social learning theory. Well, according to psychologist Albert Banduras, it is his theory explains that individuals learn by observing, imitating, and modeling others' behaviors and attitudes, which can include external reinforcement and internal rewards. While negative social influences, we have peer pressure. So peer pressure is negative peer influence can lead to disengagement, misbehavior, and a devaluation of academic goals, according to library from 5able.me. The next is distractions. So negative social interactions or an overwhelming social environment can affect concentration and engagement. Then we have social inequality. So social inequality, peer groups can perpetuate or challenge social inequalities, impacting how students learn and participate. Then, lack of confidence. People may conform to social norms and accept the opinions of others, especially when they lack confidence in their own knowledge. So, that's all with the negative social influences on learning. So, how social context shapes learning? First, family, culture, and community. A student's family background, cultural capital, and community experiences significantly influence their opportunities and educational outcomes. Then, school climate and culture. A supportive and positive school culture can foster can foster motivation and learning, while a negative climate can hinder it. Then, language and experience environment. The social environment provides a language and experience-based stimulus that promotes intellectual growth. Then, systematic reward. Learning is often stimulated by the systematic reward system within a social environment. So today, I will be discussing about individual differences in learning. So what is individual differences in learning? So, individual differences in learning refers to the diverse ways of people approach, process, and retain information, stemming from variations in cognitive abilities, personality, and prior experiences, motivation, and cultural background. So these differences impact a learner's learning speed, engagement, and strategies, requiring educators to use varied instructional methods and materials, offer choices, and foster a positive, accommodating environment to effectively support all students. So here are some key aspects of individual differences in learning. So first, we have cognitive factors. So cognitive factors, variations in memory capacity, processing speed, problem-solving skills, and spatial ability can influence how quickly and efficiently individuals can learn. The next is learning styles and preferences. Learners differ in how they prefer information to be presented, such as through visual aids, listening, or hands-on activities. The next is motivation and self-regulation. So an individual's level of interest, engagement, and persistence and ability to manage their own learning process significantly affects their learning outcomes. Then we have prior knowledge and experience. Each person brings unique prior knowledge, experiences, and cultural backgrounds that shape their understanding and connection to new information. Then we have personality and emotions. Traits like introversion, extroversion, openness, self-confidence, and resilience can influence a learner's preferences and performance. Then, physical characteristics. Physical characteristics, factors such as gender, ability, and physical development can also contribute to differences in how individuals learn. So here are some implications for educators. So to address individual differences, educators should differentiate instruction. So by implementing a variety of teaching methods, materials, and assessments to cater to different learning needs, then offer choice. Provide students with options regarding how they learn and demonstrate their understanding. Then, foster a positive learning environment. Create a welcoming atmosphere where learners feel their differences are accepted and respected. Then, cultivate self-awareness. Help students recognize their own learning preferences and strategies, encouraging them to expand or modify them as needed. Then lastly, employ empathy and curiosity. Approach each student with an understanding of their unique background and learning needs, demonstrating flexibility in teaching practices. So examples of individual differences include personality traits, values and beliefs, physical abilities, age, gender, ethnicity, learning styles, cognitive abilities, attitudes and emotions, and levels of motivation and resilience.
Objectives. Well, at the end of this topic, learners will be able to identify the importance of recognizing students' diversity in the classroom, demonstrate an understanding of inclusive teaching strategies through example or discussion, explain the role of academic standards in guiding instruction, and analyze how assessment results can be used in adjusting teaching and support student learning. Okay, good day everyone. So now I'm going to discuss about learning and diversity and also the standards and assessment. So learning and diversity refers to the understanding that students come from different cultural, linguistic, and social backgrounds and that they have various learning styles and abilities. So teachers must adapt their teaching strategies to meet the unique needs of every student, promoting an inclusive and supportive learning environment. So, for example, in a classroom with students who speak different languages, teacher uses visual aids, group activities, and bilingual resources to help all students understand the lesson and participate fully. So, in summary, learning and diversity means recognizing and respecting student differences and adjusting teaching methods to support everyone's learning needs. So now, let's move on standards and assessments. So, standards are specific learning goals set by education authorities that define what students should know and be able to do at each grade level. So, assessment is the process of evaluating how well students meet these standards through tests, quizzes, projects, or other methods. So, assessments helps teachers understand student progress and improve instruction. For example, a teacher follows state science standards to teach about ecosystems. So after the units, students take a quiz to assess their understanding and the teacher uses the results to identify who needs more help. So in summary, standards define learning goals and assessment measures how well students achieve them, guiding effective teaching. So that's all for learning and diversity and also the standards and assessment.